I did it. People said there was soft dirt back in these areas and I should be careful. And I wasn't careful. And now I'm stuck.
Maximalist Minibus with Mary and Captain and you. Get on the bus!
It is moving day. Finally moving day. I'm headed to Quartzsite in hopefully a very short time. I'm just waiting for my friend Jack to wake up. He was driving Uber Eats all night, so I want to let him get a little sleep, but I promised him that I wouldn't leave without saying goodbye. At some point I'm going to have to wake him up, but I don't want to wake him up quite yet. I've said goodbye to my other parking lot friends. I mean, some of them. Some people don't really deal with goodbye that well, but that's okay. I've said goodbye to everyone I need to say goodbye to. This parking lot has pretty much been my home for the past 8 months. That's crazy. I never expected to be here for 8 months, but the healthcare part of things just kept kind of unwinding, so everything took longer than I expected. It was a nice little home away from home. And obviously it's not like the desert where you can spread out and, really claim some space. I mean, it's a parking lot. People come here for the Little League fields, for the dog park. And those of us that stay here, that sleep here at night, have learned to be pretty respectful of that because, it's a multi-use place, but it's a pretty good situation. The local sticks and bricks neighbors, the law enforcement, everyone has been pretty easygoing. It's been a good place. Last night, Ryder and I said our goodbyes at the dog park. We've made a lot of friends there. They helped me take care of Ryder when I was pretty much immobilized after surgery. This whole thing has been such a great experience here. So many people just stepping up and being really helpful. I'm going to miss these guys. And I'm going to miss my friend Julie a lot. She's amazing. I mean, we'll talk on the phone, but I'll still miss her. And then my brother and sister-in-law are here, and my friend Paul. We just spent Thanksgiving together. One of the great things about being a nomad is traveling with the weather. It's usually fairly easy leaving a place because it's time. When it starts to get too cold or too hot, okay, I got to get out of here, and you're ready to go on to the next place. You just want to go. But here's the problem with leaving Southern California. The weather is pretty much perfect all the time. So, there's no oh, it's too cold, I gotta go, It never really feels like the right time weather-wise. But I know it's time. Okay, here we go. Hitting the road. Oh, shit. Okay. Not quite as prepared as I thought I was. A few things have changed since the original plan. In that last video, I told you that I was gonna get an oil change and I was gonna have my brakes checked and a few other mechanical little tweaks before I left. Well, after I said that, I sat down and I crunched the numbers and I figured out that I don't know what I was thinking. I can't afford any of those things. I can't afford an oil change. I can't afford to get my brakes checked. And I definitely can't afford any little mechanical tweaks. See, I have a bunch of things that I pay for annually instead of monthly to save a few bucks. And because I started out on the road originally in November, all those things are due in November and they get deducted from my bank account, and I always forget about it every year. So I had some deductions that I wasn't expecting. So whatever I need to do, I'm just going to have to wait until I get to Quartzsite. And then I'm going to have to deal with it piecemeal because I don't have a big bucket of money to throw at anything right now. Which means that's one more reason why I have to drive very carefully on this trip. The other being that the bus is technically not registered. I mean, it's not technical, it's not registered, right? Because the Massachusetts registration expired and I haven't done Arizona registration yet. So yeah, I am basically driving an unregistered vehicle with not great brakes. So fingers are crossed that everything's going to go perfectly. I mean, this is not how I prefer to do things, but sometimes the budget dictates what you do. It's just the way it is. The other thing you might notice is that I'm driving on the freeway, which I don't usually do. Typically, I'm an avoid highways kind of girl, But the reason I'm driving on the highway this time is because of my knee. Because my knee surgery, it's about 3 months old, so I've had time to get used to it. But the thing that seems to tax me the most is driving, because, it's my driving leg that got the new knee. And they don't recommend with a new knee that you drive more than 45 minutes at a time. I'm not going to stop that often, but the thing is, if I did the avoid highways route, it would be over 6 hours to get to Quartzsite. If I drive on the highway, it cuts it down to under 4 hours. And it's not really about how long it's going to take, because I'm not going to do it all in one day anyway, but it's about the amount of driving that I physically am going to have to do. So taking it easy on my knee on this trip also. So I just got to Box Canyon Road, and it's dark. And I don't usually like looking for a camp spot in the dark, but here the camp spots are actually just right all along the road, so it's easy to find a spot, except for one thing, which is that every review that I've read of this area says that there's a lot of soft sand, and so I could pull into a spot and it could be fine, or I could pull into a spot and be stuck in soft sand. So honestly, that's hard to tell even in the daylight, but at night it's really hard to tell. The smart thing to do would be to turn around and go back to the pilot truck stop back there and spend the night there, but I'm here already. I just want to park here, so I'm gonna give it a try. Well, I'm not stuck. This is Box Canyon Road in Mecca, California. By some stroke of luck, I managed to land in a spot that's firm enough to support the bus. Or I don't know, maybe the soft sand rumors are an exaggeration, but it probably would have been safer to go back to the pilot and park there. But once I got here, I just didn't want to leave. So luckily, I got into a spot that is pretty easy to get in and out of. This area is really interesting. It looks like the Old West, you know, with these big sand canyon walls. I keep expecting a bunch of outlaws to come riding through on their horses with bags of loot from robbing a bank. And Ryder's making himself at home. He has to make sure that everybody knows that he was here. That's my boy. Well, this is kind of an interesting area to drive through. I mean, it almost feels like driving on the moon. There's like a historical marker thing over there. I'm going to check it out and see what that's about. Shaver's Well, dedicated to the man behind the well, John Shaver, 1854 to 1935. ECV, Billy Holcomb chapter. I don't know what ECV is. I'm going to have to look this up. I did it. I got off to see what this sign said. People said there was soft dirt back in these areas and I should be careful. And I wasn't careful. And now I'm stuck. I should have parked on the other side and walked over to see what this thing was. A little late now. I'm stuck in dirt. Soft dirt. I have roadside assistance, but I don't have any cell service. I don't know. Maybe if my knees were better, I could dig these tires out. A couple of different off-road guys drove by, and they obviously have the gear that they could pull me out, but they wouldn't stop. And then I flagged down a guy in a pickup truck, and I asked him if I could use his phone, but he didn't have a signal either. So I asked if he could give me a ride into Mecca, because my phone worked back there, but he just said, no, I don't think so. Like I'm a serial killer or something. Well, that turned out to be kind of fun. I got stuck, and the only person that stopped was a guy on a bicycle. He helped me dig the tires out, and then I just blasted out of there. Thanks,
welcome.
Louis.
You're welcome. Have a great ride.
Where are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Oh, great.
I'm from Germany, yeah.
And where's your ultimate destination?
Argentina.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's his bike. Well, have a great trip.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Now I'm back on the road, so no more pulling over to shoot video of sketchy monuments for me. I'm gonna stay on the pavement for a little while. So we just passed Blythe, which is the last town in California. And in a minute, we're gonna cross the Colorado River. And then on the other side of that is Ehrenberg, which is the first town in Arizona. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you might remember Ehrenberg, because that's where we spent Christmas a couple of years ago, because that's where I did my rebuild. After I, flipped the bus over, that's where we got together and rebuilt the bus. Ehrenberg is exit 1 in Arizona. And a lot of times, it's not so bad today, but a lot of times you see a lot of traffic going the other way, going into California, because there's an inspection station there as you enter the state. I'm not 100% sure what they're like inspecting for. I think it's produce, but I don't know. Maybe it's illegal aliens. Who knows? Maybe both. And here we come. Welcome to Arizona, the Grand Canyon State. I'm actually going to get off at Dome Rock Road because every now and then there's like a huge traffic jam going into Quartzsite. And Dome Rock Road it basically parallels the freeway. It's just a little, 2-lane road, one in each direction, that parallels the freeway, and it goes through the Dome Rock Road BLM camping area. So it's just a little more fun of a drive, and you don't have to stay on the freeway all the way into Quartzsite.
I'm coming home.
Welcome to Quartzsite. Here we are coming into Quartzsite, like just sort of coming in the back entrance down Dome Rock Road. And this is going to bring us right around to Scat and Wash, which is where Kat is camped. People wave to each other when they drive by here. It's like a small town, It does get very bouncy at certain points. Woo! Another bounce. And I can see Kat over there.
I'm coming home.
So, we are finally here. We're in Quartzsite. Yeah, we're here. We're going to get settled in. And are you here? Are you in Quartzsite? If you are, get in touch, and maybe our paths will cross. Meanwhile, here's something from last year from Quartzsite. We're here. Exciting.